It's me, back with another Limbus company. Is my mic working? Yes, it is. Okay, cool. Today, new target extraction dropped. But before we can look at new target extraction, we gotta look at Battle Pass Ego, because I haven't done that yet on a video. So, I'm just gonna briefly touch on these. First off, we have Binds for Heathcliff. It is an 18 to 30, 3 attack weight, Gloom Blunt Ego. After attack for 3 turns, lose 10 SP on turn end. After attack next turn, gain 20 bind, 1 before the king, and 1 attack power up. Before the king is when this unit's attack with 1 attack weight hits, inflict 50% of the resulting coin value on hit as affinity/attack type of the attack skill used to hit, damaged against 2 other attackable enemies with the least HP. Basically, this just turns 1 weight attacks into 3 weight attacks. I don't believe it can target the same enemy, so unfortunately it's not going to be as useful as boss fights. On hit, inflicts 1 bind next turn, 4 sinking, 4 tremor, and triggers Tremor Burst. Corrosion says next turn gain 20 bind, 1 before the king, and 2 attack power up. After attack next turn, apply 20 bind, 3 attack power up, and 1 gloom damage up to 2 other allies in the order of deployment. The number of affected allies grows by highest gloom or pride resonance -2 up to 3, and inflicts like the same debuffs, 2 more bind. And then the passive says combat start at 4+ highest resonance. That includes this unit's skills. Apply 3 offense level up and 3 defense level up to self and all allies who were part of that resonance. If the said resonance was an absolute resonance, apply 2 additional offense level up and defense level up. This is just an insanely good ego. The binds having a gimmick where they lose their SP cost over time instead of all at once makes them incredibly good, just in general. And so the real only cost is the actual like resource cost, which is pretty hefty because it's a VoV ego. I mean, that's to be expected. And the passive is just incredible on this one specifically. At uptype 4, you gain 3 coin power. I think that's the only change on the Awaken. Oh, you gain 2 more attack weight as well, so that's nice. The Corrosion, I didn't even look at the power, is a 32 to 18, but at uptype 5 it is a 35 to 20. Same bonuses. Gives 2 gloom damage up instead of just 1, and an additional attack power up to the user, and the number of affected allies can cap at 4 instead of 3. So, just generally, insanely good ego, and I recommend using it. It can be used in any team. It doesn't really have a gimmick, even though it does do tremor and sinking. You don't really need to use either in a team for it to work. Now, I cannot say the same for Otis's binds. It is a 20 to 30 Pride Blunt ego with 5 attack weight. Costs 10 SP, just like the other one. 4 attack, gain highest Pride or Sloth resonance -2 attack weight up to 2, so it can be a 7 weight. Amount of stagger threshold raised by Tremor Burst increased by 50%, and for 3 turns, lose 9 SP at turn end. Then on hit, we have Inflict 5 Tremor, trigger Amplitude Conversion into Tremor Fracture, and trigger Tremor Burst. Tremor Fracture makes it so that if the count and potency when added together is 20 or higher, it raises the stagger level of the enemy by 1 whenever they are staggered, not whenever they get staggered. And it still reduces the same way that Tremor normally would. Originally, for like the entire first week that this ego was out, it didn't decrease the count at turn end, which was really nice, but unfortunately they patched that because it was a bug. But it's still pretty strong overall, and Tremor Fracture by itself is pretty... I mean, it's pretty telling that it makes Tremor a lot better. The Corrosion is a 32 to 18, just like Heathcliff's. Gains the same effects on use. Inflicts 2 Tremor count in addition to 5 Tremor, and triggers Tremor Burst twice if you hit tails, and that's really the only thing that makes it different from the Awakening. The passive is, after attack from this unit, if the target is staggered or defeated, gain 1 Pride Ego resource and 1 Ego resource for 1 other random affinity, up to 3 times per turn, which is obviously really good, so I don't really need to explain that to you. At uptype 4, The stagger threshold raised by Tremor Burst increases by 100% instead of 50%, and you lose 1 less SP at turn end, and it inflicts 1 more Tremor, and that's the only real change. Still really good, obviously, in a Tremor team, and so I recommend uptying it to 4 if you're using Tremor, or even Pride Resonance, because it's really good in that too. The Corrosion inflicts 1 more Tremor count, and triggers Tremor Burst an additional time, which is hilarious. But in all honesty, you probably don't need the triple burst unless you're actually like running Tremor, which I plan to do in the next railway as an apology for always calling Tremor trash, because I think it's genuinely usable now. So that's Binds done, and now I'm going to go to my actual Sinners list, because I have the other 2 at Uptie 3, and I don't like looking at it in the Battle Pass thing. Start off, Merceau's Electric Screaming is an ego that is probably underrated. The problem with the Electric Screamings is you kind of have to use both of them if you want to get the max value out of them, but if you're using both, it's very strong. We've got a 22 to 26 Pierce Envy ego with 2 attack weight. A little hefty on the sanity cost for a 10th ego. Before attack, gain 8 charge count, and after attack, apply 8 charge count to one other ally with the least charge count. Number of affected allies grows by highest Envy Resonance -2 up to 4, and at 4+ highest Envy Resonance, apply 1 Envy damage up to self and all affected allies. That is really good. If you have Envy Resonance 6, this is basically just 1 Envy damage up to all of your team, and on hit inflicts 3 Rupture, which is pretty negligible, all things considered. Corrosion is a 28 to 16 Pierce Envy. Before attack, gain attack weight equal to highest Envy Resonance -2 up to 3. So at Envy Resonance 5, it is capped. If this unit has 10+ charge count, spend up to 20 charge count, deal plus 2.5% more damage for every charge count consumed, up to 50%. And on hit, inflicts 1 Paralyze and 3 Rupture. Pretty solid. You're not going to be using the Corrosion as much if you don't already have the passive activated, which says combat start at 4+ Resonance, doesn't matter which kind. Gain 2 offense level up and 2 defense level up. If the Resonance was an Envy Resonance, apply the above effects to the 2 units adjacent to this unit on the dashboard as well. Legitimately really good. At Uptie 4, you gain 12 charge count instead of 8. And you can hit up to 5 additional allies instead of 4. And at 6+ highest Envy Resonance, apply 1 Envy damage up to self and all affected allies, so you basically double the damage bonus, which is insane. This is a really good ego, and everybody calls it bad. Before attack, at 10+ charge count, apply the effects applied from on hit twice, and gain an additional 0.5% damage up for every consumed charge by the effect, up to 60%. So basically, it'll make it inflict 2 Paralyze and 6 Rupture, which is okay. Like, the bonuses for the Corrosion aren't really nearly as significant as the bonuses for the Awakening, unfortunately. This is really good for middle Merceau, oddly enough. Every charge Merceau has an Envy skill, but the middle benefits most from this since it's Envy Resonance garbage. So yeah. I say garbage like it's not a fantastic strategy. And lastly, we have Electric Screaming Don Quixote, which is an Envy Resonance ego, full stop. It is not a charge ego despite how many times you see the word charge in this description. So it is a 19 to 27 Pierce Envy ego with 2 weight. Before attacks, gains Envy Resonance -2 attack weight, max 2. Before attack, deal Envy Resonance -3 times 5% more damage, up to 15%, so that caps out at 5 Envy Resonance if you don't want to do the math. If this unit has 20+ charge count, spend 20 charge count to deal 35% more damage, which is a lot, but also having 20 charge count when you use a skill is not as easy as it sounds, and on kill, gain 2 charge count. This ego is very underwhelming, but when used together with the other one, it is fantastic as just burst damage. You can use it a lot because it's really cheap. The Corrosion is, again, a 28 to 16. Gains Envy Resonance -2 attack weight up to 2. Deal Envy Resonance -3 times 8% more damage. At less than 20 charge count, spend 1.5% of this unit's max HP per missing charge count to raise charge count to 20. And before attack, spend up to 20 charge count to deal plus 3.5% more damage for every spent charge count up to 70%. So this will always be maxed out since you're spending enough HP to get to 20 charge no matter what you're doing. And then on guild, charge. Very solid damage option. If you actually have the maxed out attack weight, this hits for a lot. And that's really nice. And the passive, if the target is defeated at this unit / or envy affinity skill end, gain 1 attack power up next turn, once per turn. Very underwhelming passive, unfortunately, but the skill itself is really solid. At uptype 4, doubles the damage bonus from Envy Resonance, and increases the damage bonus from spent charge by 5 whole %. Awesome. Oh, and you get another attack weight max. The Corrosion gives another attack weight max. Gains 4% more damage from the Envy Resonance effect. Spends less HP per charge count missing to get up to the charge count, and deals an additional 1.5% per charge count spent, so this will always deal double damage from its initial value, which is awesome. I've played the majority of Canto 6 Part 3 with both of these egos as my central strategy on both middle IDs for the sinners that have them, and they have been very, very reliable ego, just in general, both of them, for the record. And so I recommend getting them if you really want to just use Envy Resonance stuff. You don't even need to use it with charge. Cool thing about Dons, you can use it with Telepole to make up the charge count. If you have Telepole at uptype 4, since that's guaranteed 20 charge count, so you can basically always unleash a maximum potential corroded electric screaming if you want the turn after you use Telepole, which is nice. So anyways, on to the actual new stuff. We have Edgar Family Butler Ishmael, which is an ID that I did not see coming when it was initially announced. Initially? That's definitely a word. And also, we have Edgar Family Chief Butler Ryoshu, who is an ID. And of course, we'll be going over both of these once I have them both. We also have a target extraction for Heathcliff this week, which is fine. Heathcliff, of course, is certainly a sinner. So let's try and get some butlers, shall we? Hong Lu. I am going to use these right now because, frankly, I don't want to save them for Walpurgisnacht since they're not guaranteed to give me anything from it. I have only one of them. I could have sworn I had 2, but that's okay. Let's see if we can get it off of this, because that would be nice. I didn't even get a 2-star. That's incredible. Well, alright then. Let's see. We're still in the pulling mood. Until we get to Season 0 IDs, I'm still gonna pull for them. Oh, that was quick. Alright. Game seems to like me today all of a sudden. Wow.
이쪽에 아직 먼지가 남아있네요. 기관지가 안 좋으신 분이니 좀 더 철저히... 그냥 제가 하죠.
Epic. It was Faust. Okay. We'll do one more, and then I'll probably shard, because I don't want to waste too much lunacy, since Walpurgisnacht is going to be coming pretty quickly here. Okay. So let's shard the last one, I think, because honestly, I don't want to waste too much of my resources.
신정. 그렇게 해서 버틀러라고 말할 수 있겠나? 나와, 내가 보여주지. 신속하고 정확하게.
Love that you can see Ishmael in the background, and she's not just like right up front, like a lot of ID arts tend to do, where they just put both of them right in the front. Alright. Let us see.
주인님의 집안에 고용된 버틀러가 유능하지 않을 리가 없죠. 병약해지신 틈을 타 부당한 이득을 취하려는 놈들은 제가 청소해드리겠습니다.
For the record, I haven't looked at these IDs at all aside from the teaser images that they normally post. The Edgar Manor, wreathed in the ambient sunlight, is full of sounds of brooms and butler boots moving about its premises. Butlers of the Edgar family are busy with their last-minute deep cleaning of the manor before the woven hunt. Brooms brushing against the floor, dishes clattering against one another, loud bustling footsteps. The child is quietly and impassively dusting the window frames amidst that clamor. Come on, let's try not to neglect these out-of-the-way corners. The child would normally have quietly taken care of it herself without telling anyone, but now that they're all busily preparing for the hunt, she decided to give them a warning to avoid drawing the ire of her master or the chief butler. It may have sounded a tad nosy, but it was her own way of caring for the other butlers. Even a pinch of dust particles can be dangerous for our master, you know. Sorry, I'll be more careful from now on. Come on, the hunt's coming up, so let's keep ourselves in tip-top shape, alright? Of course, she wasn't just worried for her fellow butlers. It was clear from the way she spoke that she cared terribly for her master. Perhaps that was an obvious outcome. The child used to be a fixer drifting through the back streets, and she wandered for a long, long time, unable to find her purpose in life. The Edgar family took her in, gave her a roof over her head, and gave her a definite purpose to live for. Perhaps that is why the child does not tell the chief butler whenever the other child, her master, indulges in alcoholic drinks. That is why the child does not even dare open the window when her master is home, for fear of letting chill winds into the manor. Her devotion to her master almost appears like a blind obsession. Still current reference? Do you think Master would have been less ill had he been not hunting for the wolf? I doubt it. Master had already lost his arm and Miss Isabella even before the hunt started. Yeah, but besides, it doesn't matter whether our master gives up his hunt or not, because that wolf won't. He won't stop until he's taken everything that our master has. Oh, speaking of which, wasn't there someone that Wolf loved? Love? What are you talking about? What was it again? It's nothing. Sorry, I have no idea where that's coming from. There was a large hole where that child once stood, a child who was likely the cause of all this misery. The child grew puzzled as she suddenly felt the fog of memory from this casual conversation. But she ignored this odd sense of déjà vu. It would be much more reasonable for her to focus on the hunt rather than to get hung up on such details. Is it already time? The sun hangs over the horizon. The terrible wailings of those pulled from the other side begin to echo from nearby. The great rumbling begins to intensify within the halls of the manor. Past the window were the forces of the dead, wreathed under the orange light of the eventide, swarming up toward the manor. Even as I remain awake, does that endless nightmare seem to claim me. They're nothing but weaklings. An advance party, I see. The wolf caught wind of our hunt, I suppose. The other child, her master, draws his saber and readies himself, but the child shakes her head. Master, Lady Ryoshu, leave them to me. BS. Me and this fool of a master can take them out in a blink of an eye. The child waits until the warm light of the eventide, the color of her hair, reflects off the floorboards of the manor's hallway. She looks into the eyes of the chief butler and her master. The two of you have a wolf to hunt. Don't let the dead waste your energy. Perhaps the two believe that this child's words had merit. Her master lowers his saber. The chief butler grumbles for a moment before sheathing her knives and crossing her arms. Only then does the child pull an oddly engraved broom and a sharp knife from her dimensional attaché case. I don't know what that word is, I've never seen it before, issued to butlers. Hunting cutlery's at the ready. Tsk, don't get yourself killed like an idiot. The child lives up to her confidence. The well-sharpened knife cuts through the army of the dead like butter. And the generations-old broom from the Edgar family butlers keeps her enemies at bay. She routed the forces of the dead with every knife throw and broom swing, handily knocking them down like she was dusting a particularly stubborn corner. The advanced force that assailed the manor is already looking rather thin. The intense light of the sunset shines through the windows still. Doesn't seem like housekeeping will cause them to run late to the hunt. Ishmael. What a strange creature this one is. Alright. So, a level 40 Ishmael has 4 to 6 speed, which is nice, -1 defense level, which is fine, and 173 HP, which is below average, but that's okay. We've got a passive to look at. Oh, do we have sanity effects? I need to actually check these, and it does not appear that she does, but I need to actually check those because that is something that I often neglect to look at. First off, passive. If this unit critically hits against targets with slower speed, then this unit's inflict 1 additional potency for negative effects with its skills, 3 times per turn. This would apply to, like, Poise. Glue. I give up. You know what it applies to. And the support passive, 5 Gloom owned. When one ally with the fastest speed attacks a target with sinking, deal plus 0.5% more damage for every one sinking on the target, up to 10%. So it would require 20 sinking potency, which is kind of nuts. But it's a support passive. What do you do? So skill 1, Sweeping Redirection. Blunt Sloth, 3 to 11 with 2 coins. On use, gain +2 poise count. Coin 1, on hit, gain 2 poise. Coin 2, on hit, inflict 2 sinking. This is the game's second poise sinking mix ID, the first being Mariachi Sinclair. Hopefully this one is better, and it kinda already looks better, to be honest with you. Skill 2, Housekeeping. It is a slash gluttony, 4 to 14 with 2 coins. On use, gain 2 poise count. Clash win, gain 2 poise. On hit, gain 1 haste next turn and inflict 2 defense level down, and second coin is on hit, inflict 4 sinking. That is a good skill too, okay. They seem to be gravitating towards these 4 to 14 skill 2s on 2 stars from this point. And skill 3, Restraining Technique, slash gloom, 3 coins, 4 to 13. On use, gain 6 poise. Coin 1 inflicts 3 sinking count on hit. Coin 2 inflicts 2 sinking on hit. And coin 3 inflicts 2 sinking, 1 bind next turn, and 1 slash fragility next turn on hit. Slash fragility is the most common fragility type, surprisingly. So that's obviously going to be not bad. But this skill is just pretty good. It's a little low on the roll range, but that's okay. I'll probably be fixed on uptide 4. Defense is just a 2 to 12 evade, which is very underwhelming. But yeah. She seems fine at uptide 3, honestly. As a Poise ID, she'll probably work, because she gains a lot of count from her skills, since her common skills give 2 count each. So that'll help her build Poise pretty quickly. At uptide 4, skill 1 gains if this unit's speed is faster than the target's coin power +1, so it can become a 3 to 13, and second coin gains on crit, gain 1 haste next turn. Pretty good. Housekeeping, skill 2 gains if this unit's speed is faster than the target's coin power +1, so it becomes a 4 to 16. First coin gains on crit, inflict 1 bind next turn. I don't know why this is highlighted. I'm pretty sure it has not changed. Yeah, I don't know why that's highlighted. Skill 3 has the same effect, so it can become a 4 to 16 as well, and it inflicts 1 additional bind on the final coin. The evade becomes a 3 to 13 gloom, and has on evade heal 5 SP once per turn, which is pretty sick, honestly. And her support passive gains double the damage per sinking. So that's neat. I don't know. It seems like a pretty good ID, all things considered. and so it'll probably be one that I am just going to up-tie right now. Even though I'm fairly certain I'm not going to use it, because it's... When looking at syncing, Molar is just better. But this is also a speed and poise ID, so it's kind of like one of those hybrid IDs you'd want to be able to put in any team. And you can definitely put it in any team if you want to, so... That's an up-tie.
그래, 끝을 볼 때가 왔고. 히스클리프, 네 놈은 내가 처리해야 할 집안일이니까.
Clack, clack. You there, third from the right. Yes, the one who just wiped the windowsill. Yes, ma'am? Look at where the frames meet. Mold residue. Remember, no second chances. Apologies, ma'am. Clack, clack again. You there. Yes, the new hire from 23 days ago. Do you not see what's wrong with your brooch? I suppose it'll look proper once I SYNC. Is that what you want? I'll wear it right, ma'am. The child pays no mind to the fearful voices. She leaves nothing behind but the sound of her low-heeled boots clacking against the wooden flooring. There is less than a day to go until the Wolven hunt begins. Thus begins the morning of the chief butler. She was never too nice to her subordinates to begin with, but clearly she was much more on edge than usual, and that was clear in her attitude. Lady Ryoshu. What? Another child, one of her subordinates, walked up behind the chief butler. Her expression is grim. She's obviously gearing up to bring up a rather serious subject. The other butlers are rather anxious. They're saying that you are quite different from your usual self, that the upcoming... Quite different from my usual self? Me? This is not to say that you normally do a sloppy job of overseeing our work, but you're much less lax than usual as of late. Heh. BS. I would never let such imperfections slide. Certainly, but usually you often took it upon yourself to take care of such imperfections, because ordering someone else to do it for you was too bothersome. The child was quite self-aware of her own behavior. In fact, the newfound attitude was a deliberate one. I'll keep my guard up. I won't weigh you down once the hunt begins. I don't appreciate you trying to read me. The child sighs as she leaves the hallway. Something didn't go according to plan. She was merely trying to keep everyone on edge so that when the wolf would inevitably come to besiege the manor, they could at least save their own skin. But her uncharacteristic actions were immediately obvious to those around her. Right, I suppose I'll stick to what I'm good at. Because I'm the best there is at housekeeping. A tenebrous night descends. The wolf, the target of this hunt, was much more powerful than anyone had anticipated. He emerged, imposing his intimidating strength before the child and the rest of her subordinates. The child instinctively knew that no matter how much her subordinates mentally prepared themselves, there was no possible future in which they will survive this encounter. So she had but one choice. There never was an alternative. All of you, get out of here. Lady Ryoshu? He is beyond all of you. You and your pathetic skills won't even leave a scratch on him. There's much work to be done back at the manor. You haven't even started your morning duties, have you? Run along, get to work. The child glared at the formidable wolf before her as she slowly drew her long knife. And that was the end of discussion. She didn't have any more words to impart to her subordinates. She needed every strength she could conserve to even have a chance at defeating this foe. RUDE. Indeed, I am making a rather unfortunate destructive entrance. The child's voice was as low and collected as it always was. I hardly imagined that such an encounter would lie in our future back when I raised you. But there was an odd shudder at the tip of the dagger she held, a little fear, or perhaps regret. I see that you have much you must protect, Ryoshu. While I remain the same, and like always, I only see what I must maul and destroy. The child did not continue the conversation. She wondered for a moment if things could have been different, if she had done something differently then. but they both knew very well that there was no point in such contemplations. At this point of no return, when nothing could possibly change, there was only one thing that the child could do. I'm just taking care of an unfinished housekeeping chore. To hunt the wolf that bares its teeth at the one who raised him. Man. That's unfortunate, isn't it? First off, do you have a sanity effect? You do not. Okay. Passives. Clearing household chores, 3 pride owned. On hit against targets with BM, gain 1 haste next turn, 3 times per turn. On crit against targets with BM, eliminate the BM on the target, then if this unit's speed is faster than the target's, deal 5% damage on critical hit for every 1 speed difference, up to 30%. Then cleaning command, 4 pride owned. When the ally that was deployed last wins a clash, gain 1 poise count. That's interesting, actually. When the ally that was deployed last wins a clash, gain 1 poise count. What Poise IDs really need this? I have no idea, honestly. But that's cool. I like that support passive. BM is just a mark, for the record. It doesn't do anything on its own. Skill 1, Receiving Arts 1, The Hunt. Slash Lust, 2 coins, 3 to 11. If this unit's speed is faster than the target's by 3 or more, Clash Power +1. On use, gain +2 poise count. Coin 1 has on hit, gain +2 poise count. And coin 2 has on hit, inflict 2 BM. BM is enhances Edgar Family Chief Butler Ryoshu skills against targets with this effect, and on turn end reduce the count by 1. I'm glad that they made it 2 instead of 1, because that would be really awkward if it only inflicted 1. Skill 2, Receiving Arts 7 Capture, slash Pride, 4 to 16 with 2 coins. Combat start, consume 6 poise count on self to gain 2 attack weight for this skill. Coin 1 has on hit, gain 3 poise. Coin 2 has on hit, inflict 2 BM. So that's neat. I didn't go over her stats. She's fast. She has very little HP. I just have all of the 3 stars this season have been pretty frail, actually, now that I think about it. And skill 3, Receiving Arts 2 S, Y, and C. It's a slash Wrath, 4 to 18 with 2 coins, which is an interesting coin power. I don't think we've seen that before. If the target has BM, Clash Power +1. On use, gain 7 poise count. Okay, so it automatically fuels her skill 2 effect. Coin 1 has on hit, gain 5 poise, inflict 1 bind next turn, and raise stagger threshold by 20% of damage dealt. Then coin 2 has on hit, if target is staggered, deal plus 20% damage on critical hit, and on hit inflict 2 BM. Okay, that is a pretty strong skill 3. Then defense skill, Mediocre. It's a 3 to 13 evade that has on evade, heal 3 SP 3 times per turn. That's a pretty powerful evade. At uptime 4, skill 1 gains, if this unit's speed is faster than the target's, gains Clash Power +1 for every 2 speed difference up to 3. Okay. Skill 2 has, if this unit's speed is faster than the main targets, gain Clash Power +1 for every 2 speed difference, max 3. Same as skill 1. And inflicts 1 BM on crit with the first coin. Okay. And then skill 3, if this unit's speed is faster than the target's, gain coin power +1 for every 2 speed difference up to 2, so it can become a 4 to 22, which is neat. Increases the stagger threshold raise by 10%. First coin inflicts 1 BM on crit, and deal plus 20% additional damage on crit with coin 2. Coin 2 gains on kill, reuse skill once on a random target with BM, does not activate on reuse, does not activate when there are no remaining targets with BM. Alright. Dang. Mediocre becomes a 4 to 14. On evade, heals up to 5 times per turn, and also gains 1 poise count 5 times per turn. Okay. Passive, on hit against targets with BM, gain 1 poise count and gain 1 haste next turn, up to 3 times per turn. Doubles the bonus crit damage for every speed difference on targets with EM. Then the support passive gives 1 haste next turn, once per turn, for the ally deployed last when they win a clash. This is an insane ID. By that I mean, it's pretty good. I don't know if it'll replace either of the two really good Ryoshu IDs necessarily, but it's good enough to be up tie 4, definitely. Alright, so these are heavy / poise IDs, and so they fit very well in Blade lineage, ironically enough. Ishmael will probably work pretty well in sinking 2, but as it stands right now, probably stick with not, because well, I still feel kind of like Ishmael might not... Okay, Yisang already being staggered isn't nice. I did pick 621 for the test, which, to be fair, is a very difficult stage. But, you know the drill at this point. So my expectation for this is that Ryoshu is going to need to rely on getting her own stats up before she can actually perform well in most cases. Oh, that's not a good flash. Alright. Cool. That was not AoE because I did not have enough poise count yet, unfortunately. And herein lies the issue with IDs that require poise count to be used as charge. They just kind of exist, I'll be honest. Okay, this is not going great. Our clashes are not doing good because we're getting a bit unlucky at the start of combat, but that's fine. That's a neat animation, I'll admit. She's using it again because it got a kill. I forgot that it had that effect. That's really nice, actually. I didn't even consider that effect. No. Because I think... Yeah, it's combat start. I don't want to consume her poise count. She got 1 kill with her skill 3 and ended up with 18 poise count. Okay, that's a lot. That is quite a great deal of poise count, honestly. Ishmael's animations aren't too bad either. I like them. I don't know how often I'm going to use Ishmael as an ID. I'll probably use the Ryoshu in my poise runs of the Mirror Dungeon, though, because she seems pretty solid all around. Alright, Dawn. Who's that struggling? That's your best skill. Oh wait, that's not even Dawn, that's Faust. Never mind. And them relying on speed more than they rely on poise for their power gain is nice, because it means that even if you're getting a little bit bad with the crits, you can still actually gain power against these enemies. Which is always going to be significant no matter what your team is built on. And like usual, Faust wins her clash anyways, because she's just reliable. I say that like that's not the first ID that's getting canned. It was a neat animation for hitting 2 enemies. I like that little flourish if you get a heads hit on the first coin too. That's nice. And the other thing about these IDs, first off, Ishmael is like one of the only Poise IDs that has Gluttony. For some reason, that's really rare on Poise IDs, so that's significant. She's also a sinking ID that has Sloth, which is neat. She's the second Ishmael ID with Sloth, I believe. I forgot to equip Ego on Dawn, but that should be fine. Aside from that, the Ryoshu's perfectly feels 4th match, which is
결국은
certainly
이렇게
something.
떨어지죠.
And it also very much helps to feel, like, it would be a really good ID in Burn Team if it inflicted burn. I'll put it that way. But it does not inflict burn, so yeah, you really only bring it for the resources in Poise. And honestly,
전투응대에 나서
she has 19 Poise count, by the way.
민감을 준비야.
She seems pretty good. When it comes to IDs that have AoE skills, usually it takes a while to get their AoE going. She Heathcliff requires you to be below 50% HP, which is a pain. Who else is there? Regret Faust requires you to have a lot of tremor count, which is kind of awkward. And Spice Bush Yisang requires the same. So yeah, there's that. You're going to be needing a lot of Poise, just in general. Honestly, I said I would use Tremor in the next railway, but I'm kind of feeling Poise. Oh, God. What happened there?
민감을 준비야.
I really do feel Poise as a strategy, and I feel like it'll just be good no matter what at this point. I'm just barely not gonna kill here, huh? Never mind, we got him. Okay.
확실하게 갈라지는 감각이었네.
Yeah. I mean, they both seem pretty decent. I'm not gonna lie about that. Honestly, though, the use case for Ishmael is strange since she fits into 2 different team archetypes. It's an ID that works really well with G-Corp Otis, I guess. But she seems to be fast enough on her own. You don't really need G-Corp Otis in order to be faster. Ryoshu just seems really solid as a whole. And they did top 2, which is unusual for a 2-star in the 2nd slot. So there's that. She's obviously a decent ID because she inflicts slash fragility, which is not something that you should ever overlook. And Ryoshu just did insane. So yeah, they both seem really good. I don't know, I don't have anything else to say about that. Yeah, they're pretty neat. So I look forward to the inevitable Heathcliff boss ID. Resi as per Blank's orders, but of course I am a competent foolish master, or butler. I am a competent whale. Okay. And of course I will add them to the list for you to test out. In terms of ego that work best on these, I feel like Ryoshu is Blind Obsession. Wait a minute. Okay. I need to make sure she didn't perfectly feel it. She's definitely Blind Obsession, but I feel like Red Eyes Open is probably better than 4th match. But I'm going to have 4th match equipped just because she feels it. And then Ishii has always kind of sucked when it comes to picking what ego to run because she doesn't have very many options, and she also doesn't fuel any of these. So there's that. But hopefully, I don't know, they're both really solid IDs, and that's all I can really say about them. So, yeah, it's nice to finally have an AoE ID that is, like, reasonable to achieve its requirements early on into a fight. You literally just have to use her skill 3 a single time, and then you're good on that front. But of course that will leave you at 0 poise afterwards, so you do definitely want to space it out. But you can use it very quickly. So yeah, I think I'll have y'all vote on whether or not I use Poise or Tremor in the next railway, because those are the 2 that I'm most interested in using. And Railway's going to be a bit in the future yet. We'll have the next event, we'll have the next Walpurgisnacht, so maybe whatever we get in those will change my mind. But for now, that is how I feel. They're both good IDs. I hope this has been helpful, or if you've enjoyed it. And I hope to see you again later. Bye!